zaman kolla hanekka me dima kolli do.
So kita mas demas.
Harum mihar me pahon record kurita dewarakam mas vedana ya.
So it's been some time though.
Rodamas fashion diyeru kannege we did this whole shtick though. So just to see where this goes, like we said in our last episode. Just shooting our shot to see then da dimal kadda. Mihar me badal kol just wara zaman kolla, and I think you and I have been good feeling on exploring the media tour ka.
What have we been exploring?
I don't know. I think we've been exploring different parts of the world, different stuff.
Yeah.
For the record, you can see if this is the first time people are seeing, yeah, this is my hair currently. And that's because I went to Umrah. Me Rodamas terega. Saudi me dasal diye do. I think Rodama hoge fahu fanara id banda. So had a hell of an experience there.
A hell of an experience. That's quite the phrase to
okay, you know
describe
what?
it.
That's actually okay, but it was a very good experience. Fine. Yeah. Okay, how about you?
Yeah, as you can see, Haramanga we have presentation style like people can actually see us more cheating. Like a video quality is something else that can happen that might improve.
Work in progress.
Dasha best kostara, macha best kostara. Who knows? Like yeah. So where would you end the Varah me Devi Jatantana me then former Devi Rabima Devi Brother Mopodiag former Gosa then me Demi Singapore at then Aneka Malami former Gosa me Faru. Miaraka Vasifa.
Man. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, me Saudi, the experience was a very good one.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, as a kid, even Mawara Dambenumbi and a journey as the Hajj Umrah. Then typically it's indicated that me Rodamohoge Pahudi Hega, me da Umrah ki Anehama equivalent to Hajj.
Yeah.
So it was a very important spiritual journey that me and my wife we traveled. Me and I have to tell you again, me dust we buying echi, realize we buying echi, and some dots that I connected. All of it was a lot to take it. Yeah, it was a very good experience.
Okay, now expectations, like how was it? Was it met, or like did you have a good time?
If you're asking me from a spiritual point of view, as a video, we're gonna have to talk from two angles. Angle ki spiritual angle and a tourist angle.
Okay.
So if we are talking from a tourist angle, I have a lot to say.
Yeah.
There are some realizations, some experiences which I enjoyed. There are things that I think people might need to be mindful of if they are going there. So, and Saudi, for me, the one thing that I understood was Makkah, Masjid Haram, like where the Gefulu is and it is the whole experience inside Masjid is amazing. In terms of spirituality. I still remember the first time I laid eyes on the Kaaba for the first time, and there was a stillness in the air. That was just so beautiful, man.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. Then Masjid Haram itself, it's a it's a wonder in terms of architectural, scale and the complexity. Like, the Habardog Bukian and like a house for 1 million home or 3.54 million. Dude, that is actually an underrepresentation.
Okay.
People are there all the time. And that actually takes me to the next part, the tourist part. Masjid Haram, the spiritual experience is second to none in my personal view, and it was a very good experience. We got to perform multiple umrahs, tarawis, namataka, like namata Quran. It was a very rewarding experience as a Muslim. As a person navigating through the whole experience, I would have to say there are things that you'll have to bear in mind. One is Makkah, Varah crowded.
Of course.
And the streets and all of this stuff, like you have to be mindful when you go there. It will test your patience as far as Like all Muslims who go there, it is the holiest site for Muslims. So the fervor or the excitement or the passion, it's all very physically present. When I say it, I'm saying it nicely. That expect to get pushed around. People will be very.
You're using the PR words.
Oh yeah, I'm using the PR words, the PG words.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you this. If you go there, prepare to have your patience, your virtues of patience and all of this stuff be tested.
Yeah.
Because you have to put on your best behavior and so going to Umrah, as far as I'm concerned, is a culmination of your life's your decisions across your life in terms of developing your skills, your emotional intelligence, all of this stuff. All of this culminates to how you conduct yourself in that. So Makkah, as far as that goes, was a bit crowded. An ancient city by architecture, it's a but it's very commercialized now. I will have to tell you that. And I must say though, me mihara engage puram veronua bike brands
yeah, it's ironic, but
it's very ironic. It's unfortunate even in the way I say it. So Makkah for me, as far as the navigation or the being around there goes, was a little bit of a mixed bag, but mostly good. But Medina, man, Medina was amazing. Everybody who has told me about the pilgrimage, or people who have told me about those who have been to Saudi, have told me that Medina is a different ball game altogether. And people would prefer to pick Medina. And when I went there, I'm telling you, I understood finally why our Prophet, peace be upon him, me loved Medina. Because, dude, like Medina was so peaceful, so clean, and just like there's an air of hospitality about it.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how to describe it. Like Goba Meskita visit Koran there Faharan Hasuka Masjid Nabawi visit Korea. Like I remember being able to go near the final resting place of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Yeah.
And it was a very surreal experience. It was like me visiting a dear loved one. And that feeling was there, man. Like
nice.
I'm not even making this up. Like I don't know how to put this. It was very unfortunate that we only got to spend 2 days in Medina.
Yeah.
Because if I had a choice, I would definitely stay longer there.
Yeah.
We saw various mountains. The geography is obviously very different from here, and been to other mountainous areas too, but it's a different set of mountains. I would say it's pretty harsh. The landscape is pretty harsh. Even now, and aslo, etana gossa mihar me modern conveniences takaki uleerus aslo eka ezamanuga the hijra the Prophet hijra kura before like all these journeys that he made. And the people of that time, you really connect to this, You understand that
appreciation in there, though.
Absolutely. It's so harsh. The environment is still harsh. Even with all the modern conveniences, it's still harsh. Now, I cannot even imagine how hard it would have been back then. And more importantly, how tough and how much grit people back then would have had. Like, there must have been something else, man. There were some museums that popped up, and there's a Prophet Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, his lifestyle based a museum, and like the times of his life. Is a Makkah, Medina, and 3D create. It was very cool.
Nice.
So I would say that the Saudi government and the people that would be are definitely capitalizing on the Umrah and Hajj pilgrimage from a tourist perspective. And while I understand it can be seen as a bit of a kike on the nose, tankole kike money grabbing etche gotu mihun balafane hagigatu kastavagati as a Muslim and as a person visiting they are because of a spiritual purpose. I find facilities services being available as something that is enriching my experience as a visitor. So it was a very good experience, and I have to say, like I think we spent more than 25 days, 25, 26 days there.
Yeah.
And for me, it was an unforgettable spiritual experience.
That's good to hear.
Oh yeah. By the way, anybody who is planning to go to Umrah, and I'm pretty sure you already heard this before, though, like you are gonna get sick.
Yeah.
Ekologa is Bali.
Oh, and
Ekologa is Demura Bali. Ekolang air. Yeah, I got to answer then kestan fish.
Yeah.
Like Rogala. Yeah, 2 weeks, man. I'm still having this meme. I
recommend
I would say post-COVID things have been difficult. And I have to give a quick shout out here to the Umrah group that arranged our travel. Hijaz group, if anybody wants to know. Okay? Those guys are so good, man. Like they took care of us from the start till the finish. They even arranged for multiple Umrah opportunities because Umrah Hadamajama, you have to go out of Makkah and then come back in. So they arranged those things. The accommodation was great. The food was good. Like it was one of our concerts as okay, but they made sure Maldivian chef coordinate it was very good. Like man, okay. And the thing is, I've heard people talk about me bad experiences.
Yeah.
But as far as our experience went,
it was good. No?
It was very good with the Hijaz group. Like I recommend those guys, and if you guys are interested in taking the journey, I recommend it. But I will also, as a parting point, before me hitting it off, is that if you're gonna go in to Umrah in Ramadan, the rewards are great, but also you have to bear in mind it's gonna be the busiest time. Absolute busiest time in Makkah of the year, even more than the Hajj pilgrimage duration. So be prepared. That's all I want to say.
Yeah.
Saudi was where I was at, and you were at another part of the world.
Saudi Arabia, so I think it's been like 1 or 2 years. 1 or 2 years from the media. Then Banduan at other Sarkar office like I Bandu. Okay, the Sarani from we mother the Jehanata.
I think my Badanja.
Zuber was Jehed, the Jeheda, with Jehdakam, Murakam over Jeh, Tafatu Rashing. Rajje, and then we have formula me, Vimakanum, maybe
totally not.
It's the most beautiful island in the entire country, and I'm not even joking.
I can agree with this because my wife has said pretty much the same thing, and I'm sure she's always right.
She's always right. Yeah, it's quite beautiful in the aspect because unsustainable concrete margin if I some mother if I can with a formula right now the balance is very nice. Like the roads are nice and the trees are there and it's very beautiful. Like but you feel Kamikola there the have formula mushroom and tiger shark island.
Oh yeah, I keep hearing about that, and I still remember you said you're gonna go swim with the sharks, man.
Yeah, I wasn't actually planning to go Huratama. Then Russia goes to the Hitangiri. Okay, Dani, then goes. We got the Kekologa then me, Raptesakai Kodan, Oluni. And he was like, I got it. And then I was like, okay, got it. Then we got the Mina plane Kuram Vajitana Mirangan Munafi. Okay, no, the Mina the Mono instructor. Then and the weird thing is like me, found dive the 2020 though.
Hmm.
2020 was then the Vaahaka try dive though it doesn't really count. I don't think I went past 10 meters here was so then before we were the first found time here. So what you have to do is before you go dive with the actual sharks, you have to go to
Train.
a Vaahaka try dive though then we ever than like 13 meters at then we dive down with Joni Fuvahmulah මේ රස්ක ෆන් එකක් බින්දර that's like one of those like, really good coral areas I thought
Yeah. Okay.
then we got the key Fumaritana then the instructor was great me Varah Rangola instructor ka you know yes then gossa ade gossa we got the key ane equalizer mikampa equalizer and like I realized like okay but ondagu takenge bavaya like the instructor told me okay you might actually have sinus problems and this is not something you want to hear when you are 11 meters
11 meters down. Yeah, trust me, my nose is all shut up. I think I would struggle karne mein bad, definitely.
Yeah, but thankfully nothing happened then we went I think 13 meters by like dive definitions is not that deep down for they were like aningen me no barrier gam yoluni in video games down bunanya Olerawa then Varah study then Arara then he gave me the go ahead the green light for the tiger shark then tiger shark oti me I think 2 days later 2 days later then roda pahu diyek gama me then diyai mendur 130 kan diyai gossa Vaagotaki like initially for Atama dive you have to go 13 meters but for tigers you can see them 10 meters there's a
they're pretty big.
They're pretty big, yeah. And there's a rock and a Badalukari Honna, the tiger rock message. You have to essentially reef very fat and they drop these tuna head and stuff like yeah, and the tigers.
Man.
Then we were like and Diama them army heavy mother them Magwang and Faham with then Gosko Sutta then very guarding like they I just saw this blue Vaahaka hue at the that and like 8 or like 7 feet gets at but I was like very curious and like as it started taking shape it started taking shape of like a shark and I was like oh my god I was very scared I was like very scared.
Kiss my pants, man.
I was under the water, so even if I did, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Like, varam birung made then Vaagotaki emme fahundier all the good spots were taken.
Oh no.
So Mahundam Vijayone emme carry like one of the coolest places and like there were about 10 to 15 tiger sharks, big sharks.
Are they feeding?
Yeah. Kurimati.
Bro, you were not in a good place.
I was not in a good place for the first 15 minutes because I was very scared.
Okay.
I was very scared. Then once you start looking at them, you start appreciating. Then Varah catfish they just look like big silly little catfish.
You heard it here, folks. This man believes he was with catfish.
With big catfish.
Me the cope kori. That's how you cope.
Okay. If Boshi was a big catfish underwater, this is how it would be. Then Varah experience. And then I was like, 45 minutes on the thing.
45 minutes.
Yeah.
Alright.
45 minutes. And the sharks, like, they will come very close. And they will mind their own business, but they will be curious we can carrying us.
I heard, yeah, and this is something I just remembered. A friend of mine once said, I don't know if you know Dan. Dan he said he remembers the first time he went out and diving with sharks. Like, he was in your shoes as a learner at the time with more experienced people. So they were not going to look for any specific shark. They were just going for me instructor him freak out for that.
Oh really?
Yeah, like distance. So he did not notice anything, and then he just realized there was a shark right behind him that was just madam coasting around him.
And
Just carrying land there.
hmm.
Me, and he didn't even know it.
Ah.
So the guy
Yeah.
just when he went back up, he just told me that it makes you really think like you are in their world. You are a visitor. So you establish authority on land like you own it, like we do. We run around like we do. Imagine that you are stripped down to your very bare essentials and you are stranded out there and you are so helpless in the face of something that is so well equipped, so beautifully well equipped.
Yeah, one of the best predators under the ocean. Though, like, me, Dunigan couldn't do it.
The carrying just for the record, there are a few African greys around here.
The thing is like, Vaslu scuba equipment, like oxygen tank, it's like we are already very vulnerable, and if something happens to any of this equipment, like
yeah, pretty much.
But the thing is like with tiger sharks, they don't outright hunt you, though then curious we can ask if you start blowing bubbles, then goes and aslu me tankode me complicated situation because a lot of times shark feeding is also a very big problem, though then eha gina miaru taken eha ettaniga migrate nokon ehen tibuma kiwes eha rangolu kamen non kan but for the like situation that is in Fuvahmulah mashan even tankole rangala miharu den tankole rangala manageable kureveka.
I think I remember when I near a shark attacks asked me. We were at a coffee and we were discussing this, I think, and I'm a believer of conservation, and I don't believe in killing and I'm against it. But then you told me though miharu artificially a balance ruined with because of the excessive feeding and stuff.
Yeah, they will not even hunt because they will get food.
They know
like 80. I think I may be wrong on this. Come close to 200.
Wow. Okay.
So it's tipping point at though then it's a bit concerning, but like the situation is there. Then mage point it's a once in a lifetime opportunity though. You don't really.
Of course. Same me the way I viewed it though. I don't know if I can go back the same way I did maybe Farda.
Yeah.
Because one thing I learned from the Saudi experience is that you should do this while you're young and while you're able. And like I'm glad I managed to get that experience while I could, and I'm pretty sure you're glad as well. Experience.
It's one of the unforgettable experiences though. Like out of the box so I'm very glad that it just like I got to have that experience though. So yeah.
You also went to Singapore, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm so finally a country the two of us have actually gone to.
I remember Singapore level.
So, I actually said something to him before he flew, and I wanted to see if my theory stood right. And I want to hear it from Dhathurufathuru right now as he confirms what I said. Go on.
The country doesn't really have much of a so though yes the real me
absolutely
me when it comes to the regulations, when it comes to
I mean don't get us wrong again, don't get us wrong folks, it is a beautiful country. It has its some charms as far as visiting goes. That much we'll give.
For instance, if you take Singapore and compare it to Vietnam, compare find that like Vietnam traffic it's not as safe as Singapore, but the thing is that there's a very the culture there is very you feel it. The country has a very beautiful culture.
There's a certain authenticity I think that we can appreciate when we go to countries like Vietnam and many other places.
Indonesia as well, I believe.
Me, I don't know. That's Ari. That's my wife. She went to Indonesia.
Okay.
But we did visit Pakistan. It was nice. Yeah, what I'm trying to say is, like, for the longest time, abadisekala aharme mitagoleras me on eki daroto eki mihun kiachiki. Let's be like Singapore.
Yeah.
Let's be like that country. And I have a feeling aslu boda mihun kia a reason because kuriga. Okay, and I'm talking way back in the 90s and me onwards. ඒ හිසාබුග ඒ රසු දිවෙහින් එහා travel නොකරේ එහා varied destinations තහක. I would say that at the time, the Maldivians most likely, the average Maldivian, let alone travel Kurinam, me would have been less than me the chances for people to travel now. And at the time, I think we would have gone to countries like India, Sri Lanka, me all neighboring countries. Though them aharmen devemme duru me region ga devemme duru hisab tak innani Malaysia, Singapore hisab. And typically Singapore, as it was very well developed around that time as well compared to the other the parts. Then aslo masha feel agotaki. As far as that country, government policies and views regarding how development should go was very centralized, very singularly focused on me, and that's great for them. Okay? It's just that when I was studying in Malaysia back in the 2010s, Malaysia and Malaysia is compared to Singapore much less organized. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
And Ahraman Abdus Kiadi Finanika, me Singapore is a model of Asia. Textbooks though which have it and the corporate culture, I mean Hurihachavar Rangaluan and technology, Hurihachavar Mati in fact, one of my favorite lecturers said as a joke, the Majadaka, I don't know if he said it or not, I mean, he said Singapore escalators to takpala fast one and Malaysia, do you know why? We were like, why? So that people can go to work faster.
Yeah.
I thought he would think this was all in good fun, good spirit. Then I visited, same as you. And I just felt it, man. I just felt like aslo mitaga many people have this culture of study, do that on a military mandatory period service, and then go to work.
Yeah.
And then just grind, like the grinding rat race. If you want to personify the rat race culture, me in the most visible terms, go to Singapore.
Yeah, it is the one about me, especially as dia gotum viskanne gekka dia tech conference. Then like tech conference dia because for those who may not know, like mami then komme saraka technology field guys ule mi komme
saraka tech bro
komme saraka ule mi then ule rekka wagataki mi miharo ekka vara big words about edo. Especially when it comes to AI. AI the market before products go to the market, usually them bootstrap programs through market
limited audiences preview.
Yeah, you see the things that are coming though, and like those are things that actually were disillusion. Whether Kuring like tech isn't as as accessible it is used to be it is now. Miharvagate Varaboda tech human factor naga isolate kuram saraka diminish Miharam Fudevaraka Bodang that drive towards machine learning algorithms that will take things Amilya Daskogang Amilya problem solve Kurak Haragota and it's a very complicated situation to be in because a lot of these products are already available to the market for free. Then Kamadaka Besama Benum Mikuranido face switching at the Kadanga me ChatGPT, DeepSeek.
But it's all collecting data though.
Data collector Kurani Vagataki like Comesaraka reliant above though like whether it be for like work or personal life commerce coming to some reliable and like I feel like it's very difficult to draw a ethical boundary as to draw kuram barang because me as to a gray area because
on one hand so much convenience is being offered as lives could be made so much better.
Yes.
But then at what expense or at what cost?
At what cost? Like because like come HMS you are like growing closer and closer to like making
Dystopian.
yourself out of the box of Vaahaka.
Yeah.
Because like one of the really good examples is like Puring, when you see these AI drawings though I think hunnane good comparison Will Smith spaghetti ka video if varak kurige. Yeah, or a weird AI video in like, and if you compare it to like him
actual
the video that is generated now, you will not know the difference. You will not know like if this is actually on video.
I can't tell you how many times my mother has sent me these cute cat videos where it's doing some crazy stuff, and I have to tell my mother, Mom, that's AI generated. The cat is not really doing that stuff. Then but then there are other times I just have to play this funny, a good sport, and just say, oh yeah, that's pretty funny though.
Yeah, I feel like for disinformation campaigns, like vara bodang AI bedum koggen like a lot of people spread me dogu Vaahaka taka dogu barutaka me vara Dhathurufathuru though. And there's a lot of like negative implications of AI because it can't be regulated. So regulate because it keeps evolving way too fast though. But the other thing is like because of AI, like medical, like a lot of good things are there as well though, especially cancer detection na
yeah, that's what I was thinking and was gonna say also for anybody listening in, or is that we are not inherently against, and I mean, as in Thousand and I at least, we are not inherently against the idea of AI or any of these applications by their nature itself. It's how they're used. It's complicated. I think that is the short and sweet of it. For technology throughout human history. The technology is what it is. How it's used is where the things come in. And obviously when something new comes, and we will all have this, and I think we should ask these questions, have these because without caution, without consideration, we wouldn't know. Like I mean, let's go back early caveman zamana. Surely, human species they took one for the team when they ate the first berries. Mushrooms, the mushroom, or berries, the kajika. Yes, he ate that, died, bad. This berry, bad, don't eat.
Imagine being the guy, who did that? Like, Zubair may come then like the next in line will be like my son or someone, and he will eat the next berry.
Berry, but yeah, all jokes aside, I think that fundamentally is still what it is. We as the current generation are subject to Arnie Michi use the meeting a rangal vachisa ghost vachisa some dadi dengina generation
there were a weird situation I don't know, like weird complicated situation to be in, but let's see how it goes, like where it takes us though.
I think we'll just have to wait and see how this goes though. And on the matter of Singapore, I'm gonna say this to folks. Visiting, it's nice. Just for visit, it's cool. I personally would not want to live there. It's just not for me.
Unless you're very rich. If you're very rich,
oh yeah. Trust me. But yeah, but then again, I feel like even if I was rich, I might not vibe with it. I think the vibes,
the vibes are off.
The vibes are off, man. And this is in no way a dig at the country itself or anybody who is.
I feel like we are excessively based in a country in this podcast. Like,
appreciation is a bit. It is definitely a nice place to just go. Drop and visit.
I think deke vijjata miharo Dhathurufathuru Vaahaka taka den vara menka Vaahaka eskowa zubaru den gaming ecche kuleta miharo gaming kulenta miharo.
Honestly, it's been difficult to get time to play the same way I used to when I trophy hunted though. But the whole philosophy about that thing. I just have a few games in mind this year. mihar clear kurang e baje VG3 and clear kurang e baje and me I definitely have a hankering to replay DMC5 again. So the recent Netflix series was okay. It had its things, but I had a bug to play DMC again. But right now, Migadi Mikulani Clay Obscure Expedition 33.
Come on, 32. What happened to 32? Do you have to play do you have to play 1 to 32 in order to understand 33? Is that how it goes?
No, it's actually the other way around. It starts with Expedition 100 and then goes countdown. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, you guys are basically 33. If you fail, then 32 will come in. So, yeah, it's a very, very...
So it's a countdown. Yeah, what happens when you reach 0?
I don't know. I have no idea. I think and I would have to say that anything that you have heard about this game, it deserves its flowers and then some. It is an absolute masterpiece. It's beautiful. And Mashadda Mythic about a fascinate one is a story. It's great. The gameplay is amazing. It's probably the best JRPG based mechanics in a game that I have ever seen. It's made by people who love Final Fantasy.
Ex-Ubisoft employees.
Ex-Ubisoft employees who love Final Fantasy, who love Kike Bunani Chrono Cross, me Xenoblade, me Huriha, the greats, the people who appreciate the greats, who love the greats, who play the greats.
Ubisoft Assassin's Creed.
Ubisoft Ekal here in season Paha, Immunity Vaahaka, full Paha, Paha, Huriha, Hada, so this one guy who got bored there, got disillusioned with it, got his friends, me discussed on Reddit, Reddit to discuss got composers from SoundCloud, and 30-ish people ended up making arguably Miyaharu Game of the Year.
I was listening to the soundtrack, man. It's really
something else.
Really
something
Varah,
else. It is something else. And I would have to say that the game basically combines the best of all the mechanics that we have explored in Saka. For those who have played Persona, waki buttons and waki actions it's there. No? You want the good old turn-based system, which I understand it's gotten flack over the recent years though. But you know the funny thing, turn-based games that's not pretty great. I mean you have BG3. BG3 Game of the Year. Hell, it could even be Game of Generation. So I'm gonna have to say turn-based games for new gamers. You guys might think it's a bit old-fashioned or it's not that attractive, but you might be missing out on quite the life-changing experience. And I mean, if you just sleep on it. So I'm gonna recommend people play Obscure. If we are to give an arbitrary rating, I don't get rating system. I guess I am.
Are you reviewing it? Okay,
I guess this is two old men reviewing this though. If out of 5, I'm gonna give it a 6.
Out of 5, a 6?
Yes. Because the 5 is not enough for me to give the. Okay. Only thing I've noticed, Kiriak's is lip syncing. But that is nothing compared to the overall experience I'm getting. Dude, Ben Star is my new favorite VA. This guy is a gem. He crushed it in Final Fantasy 16 as Clive, and he's been going up since. And Shadowheart from BG3, Jennifer English, she voices a female character with a secondary character. So it's all Anika Posole, me Andy Serkis. Gollum. Yes, Andy Serkis is voicing a character in this as well.
I saw actually the voice cast of this game is very
stellar. Charlie Cox, is also in this.
Yeah, he's also in this.
So it's great, man. I've been having the time of my life. I have not had this kind of feeling since I played Elden Ring.
Nice. So this is the game of the year.
I'm gonna tell you this. In the last 5 years, mage list of all-time greats of Mary thing game. Elden Ring, BG3, and now this. So, but I understand you've been busy with Xenoblade.
Game මිදාක එක්ගේම කුලෙන් ගොස් දානේ හතරු ෆස්මස්
Ah,
හතරු ෆස්මස් ගොස් දානේ එකති දැන් මෙහෙ කුලලක් කවාගත ගැස්ටු bagutu checking
I completely agree with
it's
you.
like if you boot up my Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Hulwala, if you look at my in-game play time, it will be 81 hours. And you'll be like, okay, this guy spent 81 hours in this game, but this 81 hours is I think January is so
Damn, man, first must say.
yeah, January is so you can imagine like thinking,
I just realized name BG3 ಕೊಗ್ಗೆರಪುತ ನಿಕುತಿ ಮಿದಿಯಹರುಗೆ ಮಿದಿಯಹರುತ ಮಿದಿಯಹರನು ಅಡೆಂಗ್ ಅಹರು.
Yeah.
Okay, so it is now officially 1.5 years since I bought BG3 because you at least went at 3 hisaba.
Act 3 dang maguma varak carry Act 3 akad nuwade.
Dude, I just finished Act 1
And
2 weeks ago. So trust me, I understand when you say me, time and
we have Torufang FG connect. I think that's our cue.
That's our cue. Yeah.
That's our cue to call it a day for now. So this is the second episode actually. So hopefully there will be more episodes going forward. Like Maksadaki
ಮಿಷನ್ನಕಿ ಎಫ್ಆರ್ ಏತೋ ಬದಲ. Yes.
All right. So
because the two of us will not run out of things to talk.
Yes. We are professional yappers.
Yep.
Professional yappers, and we have a lot to talk about. The Muskuli Vahang game was one. That's something that's there. All right, guys. So we'll see you in another podcast, and thank you for joining us.
Bye.
Peace out.
So.